Lycan's got some lore, and while he's doing some lore, we're gonna go ahead and go into this this Druid walkthrough. Before he gets started, this very beginning, I wanted to show you guys what the animation is of actually hearthing to your class order hall, because it's the beam. I thought that was pretty cool. But Lycan, you're free to take it away.
Cool. So, of course, because we're doing Druid Hall, I wanted to go over some Druid lore. Druids are masters of shapeshifting, keepers of nature, veterans of balance. They strive to keep the nature's delicate balance from falling into a chaos. Shame on you. Put the fate down. Oh, that's right, you're hidden. Anyway, so they are the pinnacle master of a druid is actually Cenarius. And according to the lore, Cenarius instructed the Tarns, namely a Tarn by the name of Xanatar. He was the first druid in far back as like 10,000 years ago. Now, some will argue, though, that the Tarns actually forgot their teachings and that the Night Elves were retaught the ways of Druidism more recently. With that being said, it's the Night Elves that actually lay claim to the first Druid, and that would be Archdruid Malfurion Stormrage. Archdruid is the highest honor that a Druid can reach. Not only did Malfurion claim to be the most powerful, or is he claimed to be the most powerful Druid, but quite possibly he might be the most powerful person on Azeroth. It was Malfurion that led the Night Elves and pretty much the aspects into the fight against the Legion during the War of the Ancients. And then he led them after everything that had followed. When the Great World Tree, which is Nordrassil, which we had just talked about, was created, the Druids were bound to Ysera, which is the Green Dragon aspect, and our realm was called the Emerald Dream. The Cenarian Circle was actually created along with that, and this was to govern the Druids from their sacred base that they had in Moonglade. The Druids had gone into a deep slumber for quite some time, and this is where you're going to see what are called the Barrow's Dens. These are dens that they go to get into a hibernation to where they will commune with the Emerald Dream and be able to work with things there. While there, they were basically locked into this hibernation, and their spirits were in the Emerald Dream itself. It was, however, not meant to be forever. Now, the Druids awoke to find the Burning Legion in Archimonde. They chose to remain, quote-unquote, awake to help rebuild after the destruction that Archimonde and his minions had rendered on Azeroth. They had left a massive wound on nature, and the Druids wanted nothing more than to cure it. The Night Elves joined with the Tarns, and within the Cenarian Circle. They were a neutral faction, and continue to be to today, and absolutely will not participate in any Horde Alliance conflict. Although these Druids do have different organizations they belong to, and there's a bunch of them here, and I've listed them as, they got Cenarian Circle, or Cenarian Expedition, which the ones you'll find out in Zangor Marsh, and that's where you get the Guardian of Cenarius if you get both of those factions, I think, exalted for both of them. You also have what are called a bunch of Druids of the clans that are out there. Druids of the Claw, of the Talon, Druids of the Wild, Druids of the Fang, Druids of the Antler, which are not quite as known as the rest of them. Druids of the Grove. Now, we see those in Draenor. Those are the ones that we find in that little hollowed-out tree just south of the Alliance graveyard. I believe during the legendary quest we interact with them quite often. And Druids of the Scythe. Now, Druids of the Scythe are special because they actually wanted to put out what is called pack form, which is a form that is actually forbidden by all Druids. And yeah, this is something a lot of people don't realize about them. And pack form basically is a glorified Worgen form. They are super chaotic. They have one thing on their mind, and that is absolute bloodlust and destruction. When they go into pack form, a lot of times they get locked into that form and they cannot get out. Therefore, pack form is known by most Druids, not the players, but pretty much the lores. And we are forbidden to use pack form, and it will never be one that will ever be instituted into the game. Now, Druids also, they come and go as they please. They don't like to be in a civilized world. However, they prefer to stay pretty much in touch with nature. If Druids are separated from nature for too long, they actually start losing that connection with it. When they feel the balance of nature is being disrupted, they actually use their connection with the Emerald Dream to regain control of it. So you'll never see a lot of druids. This is why when you go into major cities, you'll have druid trainers. But like I know in Stormwind for a fact, it's out by the lake in the tree. It's never going to be inside the buildings. Druids, when it comes into Legion, will actually get 4 artifact weapons in Legion. Balanced druids get the Scythe of Elune. It was actually created from the Staff of Elune, which, as everybody knows, is the moon goddess that the night elves worship, and the fang of the demigod Goldrin. Now, we actually see him. That's the spectral wolf we encounter in Mount Hyjal. We get to go into that one cave. We go in, or we, I guess, fight him. We defeat him. And being that we defeated him, we break that bond, that curse that has been placed on him. We get on his back, we ride, and he goes and kills everybody that's in that little area. Feral druids will get fangs of Ashamain. Now, Ashamain was one of the first wild gods and had the shape of a massive gray panther. She was one of the major contributors of the War of the Ancients, and she fell in battle there. During the War of the Ancients, you actually see a lot of the wild gods come out, like Ursoc and Ashamain, and we see Aviana. We see these guys come out of the woods, under the direction of Cenarius, and they actually were huge in doing this and defeating the Legion. Guardian druids get the claws of Ursoc. Again, it's another wild god. These were forged by the nature watcher Freya, and we meet her in Audwar, and were gifts to the wild god Ursoc, the Great Bear. And finally, Resto druids. Now, Resto druids will get, I'm going to try to say this, I'm not sure how it's pronounced, I think it's Gahanir, and that is from the Mother Tree. Now, Gahanir was the very first tree that was on Azeroth, and this single branch was taken by Aviana. Again, that is the flight form, you can call her the flight form wild god, and was given to the druids. Being that it was the first tree, its connection to the Emerald Dream is very strong, and the staff is reportedly to put one of, if not the most powerful staff out there, because it has the entire Emerald Dream behind him. That's what I got on the Druid lore. I'm very excited to see what comes up with this, because a lot of the Druid stuff goes back thousands upon thousands of years, where you have Warlocks, which are relatively new class. Paladins and Death Knights are relatively new classes when it comes to lore. Druids are probably one of the oldest ones out there. It's very exciting to see all the different animations with the legendary weapons or artifact weapons, and I really think you guys will like them.
Awesome. Well, I'm going to let the video play out a little bit longer. I wanted everybody to know that the class halls that we covered previously, I'm actually going to take Lycan's lore from those halls. I'm going to overlay them onto the videos for the previous halls that we did cover. I'm going to upload those to YouTube so that you guys can see the in-depth. I know Wowhead did a nice little walkthrough, but nobody is going to care about this as much as we do. So I really, as you see, I literally went to every single spot in this order hall so that everybody could kind of get the feel. Some of the parts weren't completed, like this isn't clickable yet, and the construction signs killed me. There's still a lot of issues with alpha, like there's the screens blinking in the background and stuff like that. But I wanted you guys to have a really, really big kind of in-depth. I did kind of glance over some of the talent tree changes. Don't freak out too much if you've seen something that you don't like, because they're hashtagging stop the pruning, so I don't really know what's going to happen, but I think that this was pretty much the majority of the haul. I don't know that I covered anything else. These weird ladies with the leaf boobs, seriously, were all over the place. But yeah.
So you have the Scythe of Elune on that druid, correct?
I did, because I was doing as balance was how I was. How I went through this.
That one out of the 4 weapons too was my most exciting one, because you took 2 of the most powerful artifacts that are out there and just threw them together and said, "Here, let's give you this badass." And I can't wait for it.
I agree. Yeah, they did. And the gameplay. I don't really boomkin a whole lot, so all my alts are heals. I don't really take advantage of the DPS too much, but I think this is nearing kind of the end of the video here. But yeah, I'll make sure that next week, I'm not sure what we're going to be covering, but we will be covering something just as cool. I don't think we've covered shaman stuff yet. I'm not sure, but just watch the YouTube channel. I'll get that stuff uploaded in the next couple days. I think we've done Paladin, we've done the Warlock, we've done the Monk. I'll make sure that I upload those along with the walkthroughs so that you guys could get a really good visual as to what that's like. So I think we're pretty much near the end of it. The waterfalls throughout, though, were pretty good. This video, in truth, didn't really do its justice. As you've seen, I turned up the graphics halfway through just to see if it would be Yeah, I was dumbly trying to jump on that. I wanted to get a better... I really, really like that waterfall, and then you could see the form in the tree. It took me a few minutes to notice what it was. I just seen boobs and was like, is that boobs in the tree? And then clearly I'm not as mature as I would like to think. I may or may not be that mature, but I think this is pretty much near the end of the video. Yeah, so I think that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed that walkthrough. Next week we'll do another one, and I'll post the other ones as well.